I still remember the sound of my brother laughing. Not the warm kind of laugh you hear at family dinners, but the kind that makes your chest tighten. The kind that tells you someone doesn't believe in you at all. That morning started like any other Saturday. The sky was pale blue, the air cool, and my older brother Daniel was already loading equipment into the back of his truck. Daniel had always been the confident one in our family. Tall, loud, the type of guy who filled every room with his presence. And me? I was always the quiet one, the girl who stayed in the background, the girl people didn't expect much from. Daniel loved going to the shooting range. It was his pride. Every weekend he went there with his friends, showing off his skills like it was some kind of stage. That day, I asked a simple question, "Can I come with you?" Daniel looked at me for a second, then burst out laughing, not just a small chuckle, a full, loud laugh that echoed across the driveway. "Come to the range," he said, shaking his head. "Emma, that's not for girls." Those 5 words stayed in the air like cold wind. Not for girls. I felt something inside me crack a little, but I didn't argue. I just stood there quietly. "Relax," he added with a smirk. "You'd probably be scared to even hold the gun." His friends in the truck laughed too. For a moment I considered walking away, but something deep inside me refused to back down. "I won't be scared," I said calmly. Daniel rolled his eyes. "You can come," he said finally, almost like it was a joke, "but don't embarrass yourself." I nodded quietly and climbed into the truck. The entire drive to the range, Daniel and his friends joked about it. Imagine Emma trying to shoot. She'll probably close her eyes. She might drop the gun. Each comment felt like a small weight pressing on my chest. But what none of them knew, what Daniel had no idea about, was that I had been practicing, not at a fancy range, not with expensive equipment, but quietly, patiently, for months, and that day, everything was about to change. The shooting range smelled like dust and metal. Targets were lined up far across the field, white circles glowing under the afternoon sun. Daniel stepped out of the truck like he owned the place. "All right, guys," he said proudly. "Let's show them how it's done." They started shooting first. Bang, bang, bang. Each shot echoed through the air. Some of Daniel's friends hit the outer rings of the target. A few missed completely. Daniel, of course, made a show of it. He stood tall, adjusted his stance, and fired several rounds. "Not bad," one of his friends said. Daniel smiled proudly. Then he turned to me. "All right, Emma," he said jokingly. "Your turn." His friends looked at me with amused expressions. "Careful," one of them said, grinning. "Don't close your eyes." More laughter. I walked toward the shooting lane slowly. Inside, my heart was racing, but my hands were steady. Because this moment felt strangely familiar. For months I had been practicing with a small training range near my college campus. Not to prove anything to Daniel, but to prove something to myself. Still, hearing his words earlier that morning had awakened something stronger inside me. I picked up the gun. Daniel crossed his arms behind me. "You sure about this?" he said with a smirk. I ignored him. The world around me grew quiet. The laughter faded. All I could see was the target ahead. White circle, black center. I exhaled slowly, just like I practiced. Behind me, Daniel whispered to his friend, "Watch this. She'll miss the board completely." My finger tightened slightly, but I didn't react, because sometimes silence is stronger than arguing, and I knew something they didn't. This wasn't my first shot, not even close. The first shot echoed across the range. Bang! Daniel stopped talking immediately. Everyone stared at the target. A small hole appeared directly in the center. The bullseye, silence. I didn't look back. I simply adjusted my stance again. Second shot, bang. Another hole appeared, almost perfectly touching the first one. Now the laughter was completely gone. Third shot, bang. Fourth shot, bang. Fifth shot, bang. When the smoke cleared, something incredible had happened. All 5 shots had landed so close together, they almost looked like a single hole. No one spoke for several seconds. Daniel walked forward slowly, staring at the target like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. One of his friends whispered, "Wait, did she just—" Another friend shook his head. "That's impossible." Daniel turned toward me. For the first time in my life, my confident, loud brother looked completely speechless. You practiced?" he asked quietly. I looked at him calmly. "Yes," I said, not with anger, not with pride, just honesty. The truth was, I didn't come there to embarrass him. I didn't come there for revenge. I came there to stop believing the story people had been telling about me. The story that girls can't do certain things. The story that quiet people are weak. Daniel rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. "I guess," he said slowly, "I was wrong." It was the first time he had ever admitted that. And strangely, I didn't feel angry anymore. I just felt peaceful. Because that moment wasn't about beating my brother. It was about proving something to myself. Sometimes people laugh at you. Sometimes they tell you what you can't do. But their words are only limits if you believe them. That day, standing at that shooting range, I realized something important. Confidence doesn't come from being loud. Strength doesn't come from proving others wrong. Real strength comes from quietly believing in yourself, even when nobody else does. And sometimes, the best answer to a joke meant to break you is simply letting your actions speak.